computer. All right, and it may have popped up to tell you all that you're being recorded. So there we go. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming. My name is not Elaine Leanhart. It is Kim Williams, and I am a travel writer with Arkansas Tourism. I'm also the director of Arkansas section of the Great River All-American Road, and I am also the project manager for the 2024 eclipse. So we are recording this, and I'm going to share with Leslie so she can share with other people. So I think we're just going to sort of jump right into it. Please feel free to ask questions along the way. And let's get into our live. Here we go. Slideshow. And from the beginning. There. Hope you all can see that. In 2017, the continental United States had its first eclipse since 1918. Now, Arkansas, of course, was not in the path of totality, although we did have a partial eclipse. But in the weeks following the event, it was very exciting to see how much of a tourism event that it actually was. So a lot of the things that we're going to be talking about will be based on things that happened in 2017. Arkansas Tourism has been working on this since early 2018, and we continue to work with our partners. We anticipate that this will be one of the largest tourism events that Arkansas has ever seen. So what we know, in 2017, literally millions of people chased the solar eclipse. And the interesting thing is that this eclipse is nearly twice as wide, and the time of darkness is nearly twice as long. Now, there is not a millimeter in Arkansas that will not see at least a 94% partial eclipse. Now, you can see there that the next total solar eclipse across the United States will be in 2045, and Arkansas will be in that path of totality. So two things that I want to point out. Now, of course, Blytheville is not in the full path of totality. We're going to look at a map here in a minute, but that does not mean by any means that you all will not be seeing a lot of people. Especially, you're right there on Interstate 55. You guys are pretty much the first community that people traveling south on Interstate 55 will come to. You're literally less than an hour from the path of totality. We anticipate, again, you know, we don't have a playbook saying this is going to happen and this is going to happen. I wish there was. But we anticipate that a lot of people will be staying in Blytheville and then driving to the path for the full solar eclipse on Monday, April 8th, 2024. This top right photo is an interstate immediately following the end of the solar eclipse in 2017. What happens? We all know this. If you have a big event, a big concert, a sports game, you know, you have a lot of people in a certain area, and then it ends and everybody tries to get out. And so there were massive traffic jams in 2017. There's not a lot that we can do other than just prepare. The Arkansas Department of Transportation knows that this is coming. What we can do, and many of our tourism partner communities are doing this, they are planning events for the night of the eclipse. One of the things that we know is that it is supply and demand during an eclipse. Hotels and motels and lodges and campgrounds, they increase their prices because there's so many people that want to be in a certain location. But what they're also doing is extending their minimum stays, much like they do, I'm sure, in Jonesboro during a Red Wolves football game. And I definitely know they do in Fayetteville during a Razorback game. You know, you don't go to Northwest Arkansas on a game weekend and not stay at least 2 nights, if not more. Many of our lodging partners are having 3 and 4 day minimum stays. And part of that minimum stay will include the Monday evening of the eclipse. That way, we can encourage people not to immediately jump on highways, byways, and interstates and cause massive traffic jams. The bottom right, I put in to show people that if communities, especially those within the path of totality, if you do not offer a place for people to watch the eclipse, whether it's a partial, like you're going to have in Blytheville, or if it is the full eclipse, if you don't have a designated area for them to watch the eclipse, people will just begin to pull over on the side of the streets and the highways. And that is something that we definitely do not want to happen. So, as I mentioned, you know, we had not seen an eclipse over the continental United States since 1918, when the eclipse in 2017 happened. A lot of people were concerned. They didn't know what to expect. We'd not seen an eclipse in 99 years. And a lot of people thought that it might just turn out to be, you know, something like spring break in Florida. We've worked with Wyoming over these past couple of years. They were sort of in the crosshairs of the 2017 eclipse. And there are things that we have learned from them. The state tourism office, well, actually, the state itself was very hesitant to market the eclipse because they thought that they were just going to be bombarded with people and they were going to tear up their communities and all of this. So they did little to no marketing. Yet 473,184 people, most of them out of state, showed up for the eclipse. During the week of the eclipse, those nearly 474,000 people spent $167.1 million during eclipse week. Two things these photos here represent. On the left is the Casper Airport. It's a small airport, you know, tarmac only. There's, you know, it's not like the Little Rock or Memphis airports. They had 200 private planes show up for the eclipse, carrying 900 passengers. So our communities that have small airports need to think about this and prepare for it. On the right is an aerial photo of downtown Casper on August 16th. And as you can see, that is a great crowd for downtown, but that's also 5 days before the eclipse. The eclipse was on August 21st. So this tells us, and we saw it in the other states within the path of totality in 2017, people are showing up in the days leading up to the eclipse. They're not just coming in on Friday or Saturday or Sunday. The eclipse is on a Monday. They're coming in on Wednesday or Thursday. And so our communities need to make plans to have things for people to do, you know, have something that's a fundraiser, you know, for the Delta Gateway Museum, or have, you know, a fundraiser for an organization in your community. And it can be anything from, you know, a pancake breakfast to a concert. People are going to be here. They're going to want to learn about our communities, our counties, our regions, and our state. And I can tell you this, of these 473,000 people that showed up in Wyoming, of course, all of them were not in Casper. But as I mentioned, we had worked with Casper, Wyoming, and of all of the citations that were given by law enforcement during the eclipse event, there were no out of town visitors. It was all locals. I mean, these are people that are going to come in and respect our towns and our cities and our communities and our state. We'll move on next to another state that we have followed quite a bit, and that is South Carolina. Now, Wyoming nor South Carolina are either centrally located, not nearly centrally located as Arkansas, but you can see 1.6 million people showed up in South Carolina the week of the eclipse. And they spent, yes, you have a question? I'm sorry, I thought I heard someone ask a question. Those 1.6 million people spent $269 in lodging and travel spending, and it became, as it did for many states, the largest tourism event on record. Now, something I want to point out, in South Carolina, their longest period of darkness was 2 minutes and 39 seconds. Arkansas, in Sevier County, our longest period of darkness is 4 minutes and 18 seconds. So nearly double the time of 2017. These are the two paths, 2017 on the left, 2024 on the right. You can see for the path next year, the eclipse will not go over land until it hits Mexico. And then it's going to go into, of course, Mexico, Texas, Arkansas will be up third. And then it will continue a northeastern path, pardon me, until it makes it to Canada and Newfoundland. Now, we talk about the path of totality, and this is the path of totality for 2024. This is, of course, one of our highway maps. And that yellow section represents parts of 53 of our 75 counties. That means nearly 2/3 of the state will fall within the path of totality. But you can also see how close Blytheville is to that path. So we anticipate that people will stay in Blytheville. We anticipate really that this will become a statewide event because it happened in 2017. People could not, for the lack of a better word, fit into the path of totality. So we anticipate people will be in Northwest Arkansas. They'll be all in the eastern section of the state. They'll be in South Arkansas in places like Pine Bluff, El Dorado, and of course in eastern Arkansas, West Memphis, Marion, Blytheville, and even Forest City. All of these because, of course, they lie on the major interstates. Now, this is a great interactive map, and I can send anyone that needs it or wants it the link. But so this shows at exactly what time things will begin happening. As you can see, you all have a partial solar eclipse in Blytheville. It will last 2 hours and 36 minutes and 43 seconds. It will begin at 12:39 p.m. and you will have a continual partial eclipse until 3:16 p.m. So again, 2 hours, 36 minutes, and 43 seconds. In 2017, I was here in Mariana and went out to Mississippi River State Park, and I think that was maybe a 30 or 45-minute partial eclipse. So we're looking at 3 to 4 times longer than it was in 2017, even for those areas not within the path of totality. Now, this is basically just the projected traffic map. This was provided by Great American Eclipse.com. This basically is proof that the shortest distance between any 2 points is a straight line. What this shows is if people are driving to the eclipse, the quickest way for them to get to the path of totality. So you see that darker red that starts in Washington State and Oregon and comes east that leads to Arkansas. If you are in that red area, of course, it does include our next door neighbors, if you will, of Tennessee, Mississippi, um, even parts of Louisiana. The quickest way for you to drive is to come to Arkansas. Um, I do think it shows Florida going more toward Ohio. We could still get Floridians. And again, one of the things, and we're asked this a lot, how many people are going to show up? We have no idea. We can use the numbers that were used in 2017, but I can tell you that people in the scientific eclipse community say that this will be a bigger eclipse than the one in 2017 because some people missed out and they are determined that they will not miss out in 2024. Oh, the weather. It's going to be April in Arkansas. We were just talking about the weather before we started recording. What this is basically is just the law of averages. There's a gentleman, and he did the weather map for 2017. I was actually told about it from a NASA astrophysicist that we have been working with over the past few years. But he took the weather from every April 8th starting in 1979. And this is the average of how it looks. Now, what we want to be is in blue. And you can see mostly the only sections that are in blue that are within the path of totality is in Mexico. Texas and Arkansas pretty much have forecasted between 42 and 52% cloud coverage. But if you'll notice, as the eclipse works its way out toward the Boot Hill of Missouri, right near you all, it starts to get a little beigey. It starts to get a little orangey. And by the time it makes it to Maine, it's almost completely orange. Well, red, actually. And that is what we do not want. Will this happen? Who knows? As Mark Twain always said, we all talk about the weather, but we don't do it, don't do a thing about it. I will say that this April 8th of 2023, a lot of people were watching the weather, including the editor of Astronomy Magazine. And we were on a webinar together, and he said, this April 8th of 2023, Arkansas had the best weather in the entire projected path. So maybe that'll happen next year too. Because, we're not going to know. We all know if you've lived in Arkansas for over a week, we don't know what's going to happen with the weather until it happens. So what do communities need to plan for? As I mentioned, we're working with partners and using the arrive early, stay late, stay put. Again, a lot of that is because of our lodging partners and having either 3 or 4 or in some cases 5-day minimum stays. So that will hopefully, in most cases, it includes that Monday night. We know there will be a population surge pretty much, pardon me, pretty much regardless of where you are. I said the first time I came and spoke in Blytheville that you all may as well be in the path of totality, because you're the first community coming south on Interstate 55. You're very close to the path of totality. You are a tourism community. You have hotels and motels, and you have attractions and dining. So you guys will see a population surge. Definitely the days leading up to the eclipse. Now, on the day of the eclipse, people are going to head where they want to be. They may drive from Blytheville to Jonesboro, or they may drive to the first spot that has full darkness. But then they're most likely going to come back that Monday afternoon, and hopefully use back roads and not major highways and interstates. Because we will have some issues with traffic. We did in 2017, and I don't see that it will be any different in 2024. There will be local infrastructure stresses. You have more people in your community, they're going to be eating more at restaurants, they're going to be buying more gas, they're going to be going, to stores and buying water and food and things like this. I always tell my communities, my suggestion for our locals is, the week before the eclipse, go and get your grocery shopping done, go pay your bills, make sure and get some cash. Because one of the things that we have to think about is that next one, which is local emergency operational support. Because in 2017, it happened. We know it happened. We anticipate that it will happen in 2024. There will be issues with cell service, and there will be issues with internet, because you've got more people in a certain area trying to use cell phones and use internet. So especially our restaurants and our lodging partners, they need to think about that, because they may not just be able to get on their computer and check someone in or check someone out. Now, I do know that there are people on the state level that are working with like the AWIN system, which is, I believe, a satellite radio system that's used in emergency operations. So they are working on that. I know the Arkansas Department of Emergency Management, as well as some of the other state agencies, including the Arkansas State Police and Arkansas Department of Tourism, are working with communities, especially with their emergency management people, to try to help them as much as they can. We need to be concerned with the health, safety, and welfare, not only of our visitors, but of our residents. If you are going to be out during the eclipse, even in the partial eclipse, you have to have ISO certified eclipse glasses. You can't just put on your sunglasses or use a welding mask or anything like that. And of course, April weather, we talked about that. We'll continue to talk about it. It could be in April, it could be 74 and completely clear, and we have the best eclipse weather that anyone's ever seen. Or, it could be cloudy or possibly raining. But regardless, we're going to make it a great event for Arkansas. So how Arkansas tourism can help. You need to check every community, well, most every community in Arkansas, Blytheville definitely does. You have what we call a city listings page on arkansas.com. For years, Leslie will get an email from me and say, hey, this is how you're listed. Is this good? Do we need to update anything for the Delta Gateway Museum? That is free. Everything that we do pretty much on arkansas.com, that includes events and also listings for our attractions, our lodging options, and our dining options, are completely free. And you can sign up and you can go in and you can add photos, you can change things, especially on your listings, and it's very user friendly. We are working with regional, national, and international media to try to get them to Arkansas. I know that our PR firm has been working with a lot of people. I did find out this week that NASA will be in Russellville using Arkansas as one of their hubs. So we're really, really excited about that. We want, again, to make sure that our communities and organizations and tourism partners have a prominent presence on arkansas.com, and we've seen it already. We want our visitors to go to arkansas.com/eclipse and figure out where they want to be. We do anticipate that they will travel a lot within the days leading up to the eclipse. We also anticipate, because it happened in 2017, and we hope it happens again in 2024, that a lot of people that came to the States, Wyoming is a good example, Over 40% of the people that came to Wyoming for the eclipse had never been to Wyoming before. And in the tourism industry, that's very exciting because if we can get new people to Arkansas that have never been here, we can get them back. I've always said that if I can get somebody to come to Arkansas and they experience what a great state this is statewide, they will come back. We're going to assist with communications um, to help our visitors know that this is the best place to come, but we're also going to have a communications plan for our partners that will say, you know, if Blytheville wants a copy, here's some ideas on social media. Here are some things you need to think about, frequently asked questions, that kind of thing. Because our goal is to make sure that everyone knows that the natural state is going to be the best and the most fun place to watch the great North American eclipse of 2024. Now, again, we're not in early phases, but you know, you can only do so much up until the month before when you really do it. We are working on guidance information. We've got links on arkansas.com. We do have arkansas.com/eclipse, which has a countdown, but we're also in the next week or so going to be completely doing, well, not a complete overhaul, but we're definitely going to start adding more things. Now, I am going to stop sharing. Everybody can see me. I'm back. Nod, Leslie, if you can see me and hear me. Yeah. Okay. Good. Now, like I said, we anticipate this is going to be a very, very big event for Arkansas. I cannot tell you how many people are coming. We just simply don't know. I do think, especially in the month before, because that's when all the hotels are going to be booked and things like that, I think we'll know a little better on numbers. But so I want you all to ask questions. If you have questions, like I said, I'm recording this and I'll share this with Leslie and she can share it with anyone that's interested. But I am, and I said this early on when Leslie asked me to come and speak at the museum. I think Blytheville is in a very, very good spot because of where you all are located, because you're a tourism community. And I think you're going to get a lot of people.
How many participants do we have? Does anybody have questions?
There's 4 of us total.
I don't have any questions, Kim, but this is such wonderful information. You know, it was wonderful to hear you last year, and then now we're closer to the event, and now it's even more exciting. So thank you so much.
You are
doing this and recording it so that we can share this information with folks.
Absolutely. And if there's anything that folks need, my email is over there, like on that last slide, but it's kim.williams@arkansas.gov. Really simple. Again, I'm not Elaine Leanhart, but I am Kim Williams. And I'm willing to help in any way that we can. I will say this. I think this is a great opportunity for Arkansas, for our communities to work together. For example, I'm going to use Blytheville and I'm going to use Dice, because Dice will be the Johnny Cash Boyhood Home, even though they're also in the partial eclipse section, they're going to be having events. So, you know, you all get together and cross promote. You know, so often in the tourism world, you know, if I'll use Marianna where I live and Helena as an example, if we're having a festival in Marianna and Helena's having one the same weekend, we want all the people to come to Marianna. We do. We don't want them to go to Helena, and vice versa. But this is a really good opportunity for us to work together and say, hey, while you're here, don't miss the Johnny Cash Boyhood House, or check over in Wilson, or go to Osceola and get some great barbecue. Not that y'all don't have plenty of great barbecue in Blytheville, because we all know that you do. But work together with nearby communities and get these people moving, because the more that they can see of Arkansas, I truly believe the more they will love this state. And again, I've always said, if I can get people to Arkansas, I think they will come back. Between our natural beauty, between our wonderful people, our history, our food, our culture, our music, they're going to come back because we're better than all of those other states. Everybody's talking about Texas, and I always say, no, come to Arkansas where there's actual beauty and not just lots of land with tumbling tumbleweeds. Sorry if anybody's from Texas. I love Texas. I was just there a couple of months ago, and I do. And I know that they're going to do great things in Texas. And I think that depending on how the weather falls, I think we'll get people that are planning maybe to go to Missouri or Ohio. I think they will migrate south if they see that the weather is going to be better here, because that happened in 2024. In 2017. I'll also tell you this: in 2017, a lot of people that I have personally spoken with would have hotel, motel, campground reservations in 3 different states because they wanted to wait till the last minute to figure out who was going to have the best weather. And so that's another reason that our lodging partners, have to think about that. If I have a reservation in Blytheville for Monday night and I get sick, I can usually call Sunday morning or before 24 hours and just cancel it, or get on my app and cancel it. And there's no charges. We can't do that during the eclipse week. They didn't do it in 2017. They knew that people were going to be moving all over. So we want our partners to be protected on that. So if you own lodging in any way, think about that. And if you know people in the lodging community and they have questions, feel free to send them to me, because I'm here to help in any way whatsoever. Leslie,
Okay. Yeah, I do want to know where, and I can send you an email about this, but where do we get the glasses?
Okay, that is the Arkansas Hospitality Association had been working with Arkansas Tourism, and they did a huge order a couple of months ago. And I don't know if y'all got on that early order, but they ordered extra. So I will send you the name of the person you need to contact at
Okay.
Arkansas Hospitality Association. If they don't have any, and you need, because the ones that AHA got are Arkansas branded, and they're actually pretty cool. They're all sorts of colors green. They're really pretty. I didn't design them, so I can say that. But remind me, I'll get you that information, and I'm going to try to get this recording. Will take a little while to download to my computer, but when I send that to you, probably in the morning, I'll also include Sarah's email.
Great. That would be great.
Well, thank you guys for joining me on this. At least here, I'm looking out my window in Marianna, and it's getting a little dark out there, even though it's only 6:51. So I guess we're going to get some more rain. Again, any questions, any concerns, any other way I can help, kim.williams@arkansas.gov. So thank y'all so much. I'm going to hit this button.